Welcome to Portage County Matters. This is Patty Dreier, Portage County Executive. I'm really happy to have you here today. Today we're going to be talking about the Americans with Disabilities Act 25th anniversary, along with Midstate Independent Living Consultants, Inc. MILC is the acronym for the organization, and about how we serve people with disabilities in our Portage County and Wisconsin community. But before we get to the guests here, my guests today, what I would like to do is to offer a few news notes. My veto related to the proposed changes in staff reporting structure for groundwater was upheld at the August 18th County Board meeting. I believe that we come out stronger through this whole process, and one of the most important things, besides improving the flow of information between committees and their coordination about how they work in addressing groundwater matters across a number of county board committees, is that we won't end up with a standalone groundwater management plan any longer. It will be a separate chapter within our county's comprehensive plan, and it'll be integrated as a subject wherever it's appropriate, woven into all the other topics of the comprehensive plan. And I think that really speaks a lot, for water, of course, is part of everything we are and everything we do here. News note number 2, Space and Properties Committee met this week and of this taping. And so at the September 1st meeting, Supervisor Dave Medine brought a memo, which I think is significant, and I wanted to highlight that for you in this news today. And that is a memo that he brought along, and he read it out loud. Well, I'm not going to read the whole memo, but I want to tell you that it began with the words, quote, "Let's get off dead center and build this jail and courthouse," unquote. And he went on to share a motion that he had written into the memo that asks for a recommendation from the Space and Properties Committee, which did pass, by the way, what I'm about to share with you, that asks for a recommendation that the Finance Committee have a pro forma prepared in accordance with a budgeted $80 million government facility project identified in all 4 options that have been presented previously, and also with a $50 million project as in what appears in our capital improvement plan that passed through the county board recently. So the motion passed, and so a financial plan will be developed by professionals to assist in the analysis of the government facilities options here in Portage County. News note number 3, Portage County Healthcare Centers. I've got a couple of other news notes. I've been sharing a lot of information about the healthcare center to the viewers and listeners of Portage County Matters. First of all, I want to say that following our recent inspection, we will remain a 5-star facility. We're the only 5-star facility of its kind in Portage County. That's really important to know when you're looking for quality care and working to provide that care to your families or for yourself, if you're recovering from hip surgery, for example, or if you need longer-term care, or perhaps someone in your family has a memory care issue and you want to keep them local so that you can visit them frequently and help be part of their daily life. We're working right now at the Portage County Healthcare Center and providing even more private rooms and bathrooms. So I hope that you will check us out, even if you haven't recently, that you will check into us and see what's new. Also, we have really good news about our potential for a new healthcare center vision as part of a continuing care retirement community on Maria Drive with the Sisters of St. Joseph of the Third Order of St. Francis. That vision is still alive and well. The good news that I reported recently was that the sisters tell us that they've engaged with 4 qualified, nonprofit, mission-driven senior living service providers. That's their words. 4 qualified, nonprofit, mission-driven senior living service providers. And all of these providers have been vetted from a financial, an organizational, and a seasoned strength, one more time their words, a seasoned strength perspective. That means that these organizations are experienced and they can really pull off a project should the project come to fruition. Those are really important things to know. Basically, the sisters tell us that they are involved very actively with 2 different possible host organizations for this vision. So anyway, the vision is alive and well, and I should know more, be able to share it hopefully around October. Two other news notes before we get to our guest today. First of all, Groundwater Protection Day is September 8th. I know that there will be some news media coverage, and of course, there's much for all of us here in central Wisconsin to be grateful for, especially when we contrast it with what's going on with water resource issues in other parts of the country and world. Yes, there's a significant economic value tied to water, but also for our quality of life, our quality of health, and ensuring our future here in this county. So I hope that you will join me in doing the right thing for water in your life and continuing to help us all move forward on this issue. And last but not least, but really, really important, and it does tie to the topic of today in talking with Midstate Independent Living Consultants. That is about a special event on September 22nd. It is Falls Prevention Awareness Day in Portage County and across the state of Wisconsin. Falls prevention is a critically important issue and topic for us. We want to welcome everybody over to Lincoln Center on April 22nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. There are a host of free demonstrations, events, and educational presentations. One of them, for example, will be related to let me see. Oh, medication management it was, sorry. So medication management will be one of the keynote speakers on that day. It's really important when we take a look at the fact that here in Portage County there are over 4,000 ambulance runs a year. Over 4,000. And a good number of them are related to what we call lift assists. Lift assists mean that the ambulance shows up because someone called 911 because someone in the household has fallen down and cannot get up, and no one in the household can help that individual get on their feet again. Sometimes it requires medical attention, but oftentimes it doesn't. It just means that we have to help someone get on their feet again. And these kinds of uses of resources in our county, while of course we want you to know that you are welcome to call 911, the fact is the more that we can prevent falls in the first place, the better it'll be for all of us, especially the person who takes the fall. As I've told many individuals, as I've made presentations around our community and talked with you through Portage County Matters, one of the things that is important in my own life is that my mom was disabled. Since I was in middle school, she was a very disabled individual with rheumatoid arthritis, so much so that I had to help her get ready for work so I could get ready for school, as in helping her get dressed, as an example. Anyway, for part of her life, it was one fall after another. And it turns out, because of various kinds of surgeries on her feet and so on, that made her more apt to fall. And as she became more frail as she aged, it even got worse, until finally it was a fall that resulted in a hip that was broken, and Mom could never live on her own again. This is what we're trying to prevent with Falls Prevention Day, and so often it's the fear of seeing what's around us as tripping hazards in our houses, and that we might need to make changes that prevents us from really getting involved in the first place. Or maybe we're too busy and we think, well, that's just someone else. But really, truly, once you hit the age 65 and older, the percentage of people who take falls, unfortunately, rises pretty drastically. And so please get out there and learn more about how you can prevent falls by preventing tripping hazards in your house, by managing your prescription drugs so that they don't create a dizziness, or managing better your chronic disease conditions. And we've got all different kinds of resources to help you, and Falls Prevention Day will highlight all of those and get you connected. So thank you for listening to that, and I hope that I will see you there on the 22nd. All right, that's a wonderful, wonderful segue to my guest here today with Midstate Independent Living Consultants and the Americans with Disabilities Act. I want to welcome Jennifer Fasula, Jenny Fasula, our Executive Director of MILC, that's the acronym for the organization, and Trish Baker, who's the treasurer on the board of directors for this organization, located on Church Street right here in Stevens Point, but has a scope so much greater than just what Church Street can offer. Welcome.
Thank you.
Wow. Will you start out, Jenny, in telling us about you and the organization, and then I'll follow up with some other questions for you.
Sure. So I came to the organization in actually 2000 when it was kind of spinning off into its own nonprofit, 501c3. And one thing that drew me there, actually I started as a benefits counselor, so I did all the appeals processes for Social Security disability, or people trying to get on disability, or maybe trying to get job placement somewhere as a person with a disability, and trying to facilitate that accommodation discussion with their employer, which is sometimes very intimidating for an individual.
Sure it is.
So at that time, we were just becoming kind of our freestanding organization, and we had a little itty-bitty office. We probably had 4 staff at that time, but we served 11 counties, and Portage County has always been our base home office, corporate office. At that time, we actually had 2 other offices in Rhinelander and in Wausau. Subsequently, throughout the years, we decided it just wasn't functional to have those outlining offices, because we wanted to grow in Stevens Point, because that was kind of where we wanted our base to be. So my background has always been in law and insurance, and I was a legal secretary for probably since I was out of high school. And then I went to school for computers, so IT hat is put on a lot, which has actually come in hand with our company as we've grown.
Wow, so bottom line is we're serving people with disabilities, and your representation on your board and through your employees themselves are also various percentages related to those with disabilities, right?
Correct. So under our federal and our state contracts, we're actually required to have 51% of our staff and our board members be individuals with disabilities, and that disclosure process is voluntary. We can't ask for medical documentation. We actually just do a survey, and they're free to disclose. On the staff side, what we do is give the staff an opportunity to say, yes, I'm a person with a disability, here's what it is, and then we ask if they'd be a mentor for somebody out in the community that also has a similar disability or a similar situation or struggle that they've gone through. On the board just naturally do that. As a person with a disability, that's part of the reason they probably gravitate to be a board member, is because they want to help people with disabilities. They're invested in our mission and our philosophy and our values.
There you go, Trish. Trish Baker, there you go, yes.
So I have to say, I had a friend, an attorney friend of mine, asked me to join the board, who's been on the board for 15
Probably almost 15 years.
Yeah. I've been on the board a little less than 4 years, and I have to say this is an organization that I believe so much in. I have a neighbor who has a child with a cognitive disability, and what I have seen from this family and what I have seen through my role on the school board is that children that grow up with other children that have disabilities, when you serve them and when you mainstream them, the kids that don't have the disabilities gain as much from the process of the mainstreaming process. They gain as much. You know, it's sort of like having a puppy in that they learn compassion, they learn empathy, they learn communication skills, and so forth. So that's what I saw in my neighborhood, and that's what I saw in watching my own children grow up with this little boy that had a disability. And now my position on the school board, I see that with the Life Skills Center and talking with our specialists through the school district, that the kids in particular, I'll refer to SPASH, the kids at SPASH that work with and mentor the kids with disabilities, they gain easily as much out of the process as the kids with disabilities gain. So I have to say, people with disabilities is something I'm really invested in, and something that I am excited to be supportive of, and excited and really pleased to be on their board, helping them with their mission and helping them to accommodate and accomplish their mission in our community, in not just in Portage County, but other counties as well.
So Jenny, following on that, please, talk about the kinds of services that you provide to people and who it is really that you're serving.
So we have federal and state money, and those are grants to us from Department of Health and Human Services. And what they want us to focus on right now is 4 areas. So the number one thing we like to do, because most organizations cannot, is advocacy. So we want to be the people out there that when you don't know where to turn to and you're a person with a disability, no matter if it's documented medically or you're a person that acquired a disability, we're the person we want to be in touch with, because we want to help you get through that red tape and cut through that form and this form, and how do you process through that to be successful at the end. The other service is like information referral. So people call all the time, families, social workers, I need a ramp built. What does that look like? You know, we don't talk about building codes or anything, but we do have the standards for contractors or social workers, so when they're looking at putting a ramp in, they kind of know what they need to look for. And so then we do peer support. which is a really tough service. However,
Peer support.
Peer support. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get people to understand that you're not alone. So either through our staff's own experience, our board members' experiences, or just our knowledge of what's going on out there, we can hook them up with support groups. We have the best example, probably 2 examples here in Portage County, would be our adaptive kayaking clinic, which we hold each year. We get about 100 individuals with disabilities that attend, and Dive Point brings all their kayaks and all their staff, and we transfer people from wheelchairs into the kayaks and from the kayaks back out. It's pretty exciting to see that they have some independence on the water, and they're not, you know, they really just need to have their arms, and if they can't use their arms, we'll tether them on another kayak. But the other critical piece is mental health, and as we know, mental health services are evolving. They're becoming more recognized by the governor of Wisconsin. They're becoming better funded, even though we have lots of gaps still in services.
Indeed.
And Rock Point, which is a county-owned building, and that was a kind of a collaboration with Amy Marcotte and Portage County Health and Human Services, saying we have a need. Where we have a need when people come out of treatment or they're actively in recovery, where can they go that they can receive support from people that have been there? And so we have the house, and it's really a house.
On Jefferson Street.
Jefferson Street. Yep. And we have about 18 to 19, sometimes more than that, individuals that come kind of anywhere from 8 till 3 or 4 or 5. And we have a computer room to do employment searches. We have support groups, both male and female support groups, and then co-ed support groups. But it's staffed by somebody who's a peer specialist. And so they're certified by the state of Wisconsin in mental health and in recovery. And it's just a really comfortable place for people to go and feel they're not from the outside. You know, they feel very welcomed.
Jenny, one of the things that you might not be aware of is, I think it was in my first few months of office as county executive here in Portage County, the director of the Health and Human Services Department, Ray Shabilsky, came over and said, you know, we have this extra building over on Jefferson Street, this house. The facilities director came as well and said, well, it wouldn't take us that much to pretty much take it out of mothballs and actually do something useful with it. We're thinking of a mental health drop-in center. What do you think about that? And boy, the rest is history. There we are.
It is, and here we are.
Jefferson Street is really a success, and we get the newsletter in the county executive's office. And Jamie, my assistant, knows that every time we get that, I want to see that newsletter because it's really amazing to watch about, to read about, I should say, the transformations of individuals who are using those programs, and to know that Midstate Independent Living, again, for those that are listening on radio, Midstate Independent Living, or MILC, has joined us today with Jenny Fasula, and Trish Baker on the board. I'm supposed to say that a few times during the show, so this is going to get a little weird, but that's okay. Anyway, to have everybody know that it's you helping to run that in partnership with Portage County is just a real testament to the kind of organization that you are too.
And it has a lot of support behind it in the community. Even though it's by the school, it's in a residential, it has no feeling other than it's really just a house with people that come and they make lunch together and they hang out.
And holiday meals.
And they do have holiday meals.
Because we've been talking about, I need to get over for a holiday meal
You
sometime
do,
with the
and
group.
we have a lot of support for that because there are a lot of local businesses that'll give us, you know, turkeys and hams and whatever. I mean, the community has just been great on that. But that has actually, you know, helped us develop 2 other drop-in centers in Wisconsin Rapids and Marshfield, Wisconsin.
Tell us about that.
So we created, again, there was a need, and the county, you know, they're collaborating with Portage County, and they're hearing all these great things about Rock Point, and so they're like, hey, would you start a couple more? And they're a lot of work to start up, and you have to find space that's comfortable and welcoming. Now, those two drop-in centers are actually based out of churches. And they have full kitchens, and they have,
just
you know,
like
rec
Jefferson
rooms,
House,
just
yep.
like Jefferson House. So they have a really nice feel to it. And those are pretty successful as well.
Wonderful. All right. So I remember it was only a couple of months ago, and I saw you there, Trish, as well. We were talking about, we were at your open house. You were celebrating your anniversary as an organization. And so I was touring around. I was learning more about your programs and your loan closet. I don't know what else to call it. Is that what you call it? And I would love to have you talk with folks about what kinds of items you have there. It's not the same kind of loan closet as we have at the Aging and Disability Resource Center, which is more about walkers and shower benches. Important, or canes or whatever. But this was all into different sensory equipment.
It was.
And even portable ramps.
Yes, our
Our
number one item that our staff absolutely hate to take out are our portable ramps, because they're 12-foot, 10-foot, 8-foot ramps, and they're heavy.
Yes.
But they are critical when people are transitioning out of rehab back home, and they have 2 or 3 steps that they want to get up, and that is their gateway to get home.
Yes.
And so we go and we set them up, and we leave them there for a month or 2, and then we go get them, because then by that time they're rehabbed and they no longer need them. Probably the next biggest thing we do are phones. So anybody that has any kind of hard of hearing or low vision, we have probably 50 different phones you can try for free, and then we have some programs that we can actually tap into so individuals can purchase those.
Maybe with a little financial assistance out
We
of those
do.
programs
There's
then?
actually some grants from the Wisconsin Public Service that allows people to purchase those with no strings attached, and we can help them fill out those
Fascinating.
applications. The next thing is we have a little kiddo section. I like to call it our little kiddos for
That was
autism.
fun to look at.
So kids that have autism or developmental disabilities, we try to do independent living skills training in the home, in their environment that they're familiar with. But we have a lot of sensory, touchy-feely items, rain sticks, a lot of low vision equipment. Just, it's pretty wide-ranged.
Describe the boards, the boards that you can work off of. They're just, for the kids, they're just so cool.
Oh, I remember seeing them.
The sensory, the talking board.
Yes.
The talking boards, thank you.
So the talking boards are, you put a little picture in them, or you can make your own pictures, and then you can record what the picture means. And so by visualizing what it is on the board, they'll actually touch it, and it'll output some verbal command, thank you, water, and those are more for kids who are nonverbal, maybe that have autism. Typically we see them using them a lot. We've also seen them used with individuals with Alzheimer's or dementia, because sometimes picture recognition is better than word recognition for them.
Sure.
And we've also been using Skype a lot more with people with dementia, because they feel if they can see their family members, it gives them a calming effect. And we have some pretty cool stories about individuals using those at nursing homes or in memory care units.
Wow. Well, will you outline just a little bit? There are so many different resources that our community has. Did I say that right? Or and then also that our state has. And so how do you relate? Could you just kind of outline a little bit about who some of your major partners are, so that people understand that we're not working in silos here? I really want them to understand a few of the major connections.
Portage County is one of our largest collaborative partners, and that's because we do the drop-in centers with them. And then we also do the respite services for all the kiddos in Portage County that have autism, developmental disabilities. So it provides respite for those family members. If they want to go grocery shopping, our workers will go in and provide that 2 or 3 hour shift for them in a safe environment in their home. Some of them will actually go to outings. They'll go to the YMCA with them. And so it's our employees that actually go in.
That's great.
The Aging Disability Resource Center is another large partner. Also, Cindy serves on our board of directors.
Cindy Petrusky, our director.
Petrusky, yes. And so she, we call each other back and forth to loan out equipment if we need it. We will work on the falls prevention stuff coming up with them. And we do just some normal booths at collaborative booths when we're out at fairs or exhibits. And CCCW, Community Care of Central Wisconsin. Again, for them, what we do is a lot of the personal care, supportive home care services. But we also do benefits counseling. So their consumers or their members that are working but also on Social Security disability, when they want to go to work, we kind of educate them on what that means. What's their Social Security check going to look like, or what's their housing assistance or their food stamps going to look like? So they go into it with eyes wide open. And so we do a lot of that with them, as well as assessments in the home. Safety assessments for the bathroom. Where do you put your grab bar? Move the rugs out of the room. You can't widen the door, but maybe we can make the door wider. So we do a lot of work with them as well.
So, all right, putting all of this together, just making sure that we get this into the show, because I don't want to miss it near the end. How should people get connected with you? What's the best way if they have questions about what services you provide, whether they're qualified or eligible for those services?
So you can walk in. We do walk-ins every day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and that's on 3262 Church Street. You can go to our website, which is milc-inc.com. No, org, sorry, O-R-G, org.
So MILC.
C-inc.org. Call us, 800 number, 384-4210. I'm going to probably not have that one. We also have a Facebook. So anybody who's on the circuit of Facebook, we have a Facebook site, which is where we pretty much disclose all of our upcoming events or our collaborations, like the Walk for Hope is next weekend, which is publicizing suicide prevention in Portage County and mental health. It's a very important initiative. And Disability Awareness Month is in October. So we'll have a display at the library, so anybody that's going to the library would be able to get our information at the table there. And then we have an accessible hayride in Junction City coming up in October. So if they want to find out about attending any of those, they should go to our Facebook.
I think you should get out more. I just don't think they...
I know.
Yeah, no, that's fabulous. Yeah. The Walk for Hope, I remember doing that for a number of years. I was actually going to invite a family member to see if we might go do that together. Anyway,
yeah,
so
and the
I didn't
focus
know
on
that
that
you were connected with it, because it always coming out of our suicide prevention group, but I don't know who's all on that now working with our public health department.
Mm-hmm. So we're on the committee, and we just are going to help volunteer, and then we got a team together from Midstate to go walk, and it's going to be a great day.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, all right. So what else would you like everybody to know? I want to talk about the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act 25th anniversary in a minute. But let's see, what else would you like to...
You know, I'd really like to come back to Rock Point just for a moment, because I think that, you know, mental health awareness, one of the biggest problems with people that have mental health disabilities is isolation. They feel that they don't, that they're unique, and they are unique, but they're the only one with the problem. They don't know how to reach out for help. And in so many cases, if they can just be with other people that understand their situation, that isolation and the depression that comes with that isolation, it goes away. And Rock Point it serves such a unique niche in our community.
It integrates them and creates a community, actually, within our community, doesn't it?
And you mentioned the holiday meals. I have to say, I was there for Thanksgiving, I think last year. And, you know, it's just this, it's wonderful. You walk in, and it's warm, and it's wonderful, and, you know, everybody is helping everybody else, and they... One of the other things that they learn at Rock Point, or that they do at Rock Point, is a learning process. And the person that works there actually has skills to teach and work with the members to help them to interact with other people appropriately, sometimes is the case, sometimes job skills, sometimes hygiene, all sorts of different things that people that have severe mental health issues might not otherwise get addressed.
Sure.
And so I think that Rock Point serves so many benefits. It serves so many purposes in our community for a large group of people that otherwise are isolated. And if you go back and you look at news reports about people with mental health problems that have caused a disturbance of one kind or another, frequently what you hear that word isolation. And so the whole point of Rock Point is to decrease that isolation and bring you into a community that cares and understands you. So I love Rock Point.
It's a great,
wonderful
it's a perfect example of collaboration in Portage County. It really is.
Absolutely. Well, as we wrap up the show, I know that we have less than a minute left. The Americans with Disabilities Act celebrates its 25th year this year here in the United States of America. And I just went to their website, which is a nice wrap-up, I think, to what you were saying, Trish. And that is that it celebrates 25 years of, quote, removing barriers and empowering people, unquote.
Yes, correct.
Since 1990, the ADA has been here, and I know that you help to put it in action in our community on a daily basis, and we're all grateful for that. And I sincerely appreciate your work, your staff's work, and how people are helping people across our land here. Thanks for being my guest today.
Thank you. We enjoyed it.
Delighted to be here.
My next guest next month in the October show will be Todd Kukan, who's our Executive Director of the Portage County Business Council. We're going to talk about new initiatives happening for economic development. Thanks for joining us.